he'll play left field for you tomorrow?
Well, I haven't told everybody what's going on, so I have to inform the players first. So I know who's playing left field, but I haven't told them yet.
And in terms of your roster, do you think you'll carry 13 pitchers?
That hasn't been announced yet either. I've got a lot of talking to do to a lot of guys today.
Okay.
Alex, on your left.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Alex.
Can you share who the Game 3 starter would be if you guys use Ranger?
I don't. Just everybody's on board the first 2 games, and then we'll figure it out for Game 3. But it's definitely Wheeler and Nola, first 2.
Todd, on the left.
Kimbrel was talking, I guess, the other day about picking up his pace between pitches. Or
yeah.
Did you see that? Did you notice that? And how much of a topic has that been for him and an emphasis for him?
Yeah, the last 2 outings, I believe, he made it a focus to get into his set earlier on the pitch count so that he can get the ball off quicker, so he's not coming up against the time. And so what it's done is it's I don't want to say sped him up, because that's kind of a negative connotation, but it's quickened his pace, which I think has helped him out with the ability to throw strikes, the ability to get his arm in the right slot consistently. So he's looked really good the last 2 outings.
And I assume nothing has changed with Trey. He's still
He's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be working out with us today, and he'll be in the lineup tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll go to Deuces in the back.
Hi, Rob. Tomorrow's starter for the Marlins, Luzardo, has had a lot of success against your guys. Why do you think that is?
Well, he's really talented. I mean, it's a high velo fastball. Slider's good. He throws a lot to the lefties. He's really tough on lefties. We just got to get the ball up, and hopefully he makes some mistakes in the middle of the plate that we can take advantage of. But he's a really talented guy, and he's pitched very well all year long.
Go to Tim over here on your right.
Hey, Rob. Is Bryce good to go at first base pretty much every day now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, unless something happened where he got banged up or something, I would think he's going to take down all the games at first base for the most part.
Pass it up here to Scott in the front.
Hey, Rob. If you look at Bryce's numbers here at the end of the regular season, and you didn't know any better, you might think he played the whole year and didn't miss any time.
Yeah.
Specifically in the second half, when the power really picked up, was there something you saw? Did he kind of just get stronger as the year went along and got into game shape?
Yeah, I think if you look at his year, really didn't have a spring training. We've got this new Traject machine, which helps people out. It's a really good machine, but it's still not the same thing, and it's not the same as getting every day at bats. So, comes in, he actually started off fairly good, and then there's a fatigue factor, I think, that sets in. And then when the fatigue sets in, sometimes you change your swing. It's a confidence thing. So he's got to work through all those things, and finally he got it. And I think he went from smothering balls at one point to start lofting balls. And once he starts lofting balls, it's a good sign that his swing's headed in the right direction. So all in all, yeah, you look at his numbers, they're pretty good for, 5 months, 4.5 months, whatever he played. So, yeah, I'm glad he's back.
We'll go all the way to the back row on the left.
Hey, Rob, what is the biggest difference between your team heading into the Wild Card Series last year and your team heading into the Wild Card Series this year?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think we're a little bit better club this year than we were last year, and we clinched the wild card spot earlier this year than we did last year. So we were sprinting all the way to the end, and we had the ability to give some guys some rest this year, which hopefully will help us. I've been saying to the local writers the last week, 10 days, whenever it was that we clinched, that it's kind of a hectic time going into the end of the season, knowing that you've clinched, knowing that you're giving guys rest, but you're just sitting on your hands all the time, just worried about something terrible happening, somebody getting hit like Trey the other night, or somebody pulling a muscle or doing something that puts them in harm's way. So I think we came through it really good. I think everybody's rested. Our bullpen is rested, and knock on wood, they're throwing the ball really well. I think our position players are rested, but I think they're still sharp, so I think we're in a good spot.
Go to Oscar over here on your left.
Yeah, I was wondering your view on the Marlins. They've been hot, to get to the wild card, and also your view on their overall lineup.
They're a good club, obviously, and they've won the season series against us, and they can score runs in a lot of different ways. They can play small ball, they can run, they can steal bases, and they've got some thump in the middle of their lineup. So they can do a lot of different things. Their starting pitching is very good. Their bullpen is excellent. They've got a really good club, and you got to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. So you got to go out there and you got to play your best baseball, and you got to go out there and beat them.
Go to Dan on the left.
Rob, when you look at all the rules changes that went into effect this year, everything from the pitch clock to the disengagements, the bases, which one was it the pitch clock? Which one do you think made the biggest difference this year? The shift, and do you feel they all had their desired effect, or do some need to be tweaked going into next year?
Yeah, I thought all the rule changes were good, and I personally like the pitch clock. I do. I think it speeds up the game. I think it's more interesting for the fans, and I think as time goes on, and I think you saw it over the course of the year that players got acclimated to it, and I think a lot of them are starting to turn the page, and they're starting to like the fact that these games are quicker, and they get on the field, they get off the field, they get home to their families and go have an early dinner, whatever. There's still some guys that are adjusting to it, but I think in time everybody will be adjusted to it, and you're going to have to be, because it's not going away.
We'll go to Paul over here on the left.
Rob, following up on the question about how your team is different from last year. Last year was the first year you managed in a postseason. What did you learn from that, and how do you think you might tweak your approach going into this postseason?
Well, I think, with the pitch clock this year, the game is, you got to be on top of your moves. And so then I think it becomes even a bigger factor once you get to the playoffs, because now you're in a sprint. You're not in a marathon. So now you include the pitch clock, you include the playoffs, you better be on top of your moves early and be ready to go and be ready to do things. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that I learned about managing in the playoffs is how quickly those things happen, and how prepared you have to be, and how prepared your coaches have to be to help you be able to make those decisions and be aware of what's coming. So that's probably the biggest thing.
And we'll go to this Matt over here on the right.
Hey, Rob. With what Ranger did last year in the postseason, especially in a short series like this, how does that kind of factor into how you want to handle your pitching staff? Yeah,
he becomes, kind of a Swiss Army knife, because you can use them in any different way. You can use them for length if you get into an extra inning game in these first two games anyway. You can use them in a leverage spot if you need. Now, we've got some pretty high leverage lefties that I probably used before, but if you did get into a spot, nothing really bothers Ranger, as we've talked about before. He has no pulse. He just goes out and he just pitches. So he can be a huge factor in the first two games, and then game three if we get there.
Any other? Todd? Go back to Todd here on the left.
What will be? What do you think Kerkering's role will be in this series or in the postseason?
Well, we'll find some pockets for him, but he's a leverage guy. He's shown me enough stuff to be one of our top right-handers coming out of that bullpen, and he's another guy, just like talking about Ranger. He hasn't even quivered yet since he's been here. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. But I have complete faith in him.
Ranger and Sanchez will sit in the bullpen tomorrow night, I assume?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I would think so.
We have time for a couple more, so we'll go back to Todd over here on the left.
Skip Schumacher was on a Cardinals team in 2011 that upset a 102-win Phillies team. Not that they were overconfident, that Phillies team, but what gives you confidence that your group is not going to overlook this series and kind of start thinking about, Atlanta World Series and, overlook this squad?
Yeah, I think they understand how good the Marlins are. And they understand that the Marlins have beat us in the season series this year. And, a lot of times during the course of the year when we do advance meetings, my message to, depending on who we're playing, to our players is you can't take anyone lightly. You have to go out and you have to play and you have to perform, and when you get a team down, you got to put your foot on their neck and put them away. So I think they've constantly gotten that message over the course of the year, and I do know that they know how good this Marlins team is. So I'm not worried about them taking anybody lightly, to tell you the truth.
Okay, and we'll finish up with Deuces in the back.
Obviously, it didn't work out for the Cardinals last year, but what's the significance of you guys having all the games here at home?
Just our fan base. I mean, if you were here at all last year, it was the most electric atmosphere I've ever been in, and it can be a problem for the opponent, and it energizes our guys, and this fan base is just more passionate than anything I've ever been around. So it's a huge benefit for us.